Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to the Evaluator 254 with me, James MULI. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're even subscribed to my channel, please, it's the right time to do so. Make sure that you hit that magical button written subscribe. You like this video, and also you shoot a comment down below on the comment section. Also, you can share this video, and don't forget to turn on the notifications bell, because I do upload these videos each and every day. Now you can get into the main business. Now, today's episode, we are going to talk about carbon credits. What are they? Who has them? Who sells them? Who buys them? Revolving around carbon credits. Is it the goose that lays a golden egg? Or it is just an empty facade? Today, we are going to shed light on it. What you need to do, just and stay tuned. Now, what are carbon credits? Carbon credits is just simply buying permission to pollute. You understand? To understand this, you'll need to know that the word the word climate summit has given allowances to various countries. The allowance entailing the amount of carbon you should emit, or rather the amount of carbon gases you should emit to the atmosphere, because you always know that because I think you know that carbon gases, when emitted to the atmosphere, they have some effects. They have effects like the global warming issues, like melting of the ice caps, and much more. So there are levels, or there are amounts of carbon in which you should emit, and once you exit and once you exceed those levels, this is now when carbon credits comes in. Now the idea behind carbon credits was mooted to control the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, but African countries have commercialized it. Yes, because you'll understand that there is an allowance which is given, and some countries, most of African countries, don't hit that limit. For you, for the developed countries, or other the countries which industrialized many years ago, like the US, like the Japan, like the Germany, China, any country you think of which is developed, you find that the allowances which they have been given to emit, they usually close to those levels. They close to those levels, and what they do, they offset their extra carbon emissions to countries which are producing less carbon and greenhouse gases, or the countries or companies which are engaging in activities which are conserving the environment, like planting trees, and also and also companies which are engaged in activities of green energy. Now what happens is this: there is what happens is this. If a company, hypothetically, let's say that the allowance given to the country is 1,000 tons, you find that a country like US, the developed countries, they can clock to those levels very fast. Whereas African countries like Kenya, we can't even meet 1% of it. So what we do is this: we sell them, we give them permission to let's assume like Kenya, let's assume that like Kenya, we are producing 200 tons of carbon, and so it means that we have, out of the 1,000 tons, we have 800 tons which are tradable. So we can sell the 800 tons in form of carbon credit to a company, or to company to come and set up their project, which by nature is emitting carbon in the atmosphere, but they should not emit more than 800 tons. Now, this is what now, how is the market? One carbon credit currently costs about 30 to 50 US dollars, and it is not constant, and it is not constant, and it is not that regulated. It is a matter of demand and supply. Yes, and the as you can remember, earlier last year, His Excellency President William Ruto said that Kenya's, or rather carbon credits, will be major export for Kenya. And now we have seen it, because now currently, as you look at the statistics, Kenya is ranked 8th for 12% of carbon credits. 12%. So it means that of all carbon credits which are sold in the globe, around the world, 12% of them belong to Kenya, or rather they are, yes, they belong to Kenya. Now, this is what happens. If you are a company, so a contract is signed between a company in Kenya, or a Kenyan government, and and the company which is intending to come and pollute. And you need to understand that this is not a one-on-one conversation. This is not a one-on-one contract. There is always a broker in the middle. There is always a company which negotiates on both ends. Company don't which negotiates on both ends, and when they come to a common ground, then now a business, then now it is a deal, and a project is set. Now you need to understand that Kenya, or rather the countries which are selling carbon credits, they don't determine the price. Actually, we are price takers, and that is something which needs to be checked on. And that is, but because we are looking for short-term pleasures, not factoring out the long-term problems. What happens is this: you can see when you look at the Kenyan when you look at the Kenyan auction market, Kenyan carbon credit auction market, you will realize that over 16 Saudi Arabic countries have been given permission, or rather they have bought over 2.2 million tons, or rather they have bought 2.2 million carbon credits. So it means that it is a deal. They are going to emit 2.2, because you need to understand this. One carbon credit is equivalent to 1 ton of carbon emitted. So it means that they are going to emit close to 2.2 million tons to our atmosphere. Yes, because they are paid for it. After all, they are paid for it. Now, when you look at the Kenya, how they have been participating in that in the carbon credit trade, they have been borrowing seriously, or rather they have been taking money and allowing those companies to come and set up their industries here in Kenya. Currently, we may not feel the pain, but on the other side, the idea of carbon credit for Africans, it is taking us way far from industrializing, because you will realize this. They have given yes, as I've said, it's those 16 companies, Saudi Arabic companies, which have been given permission to come and set up industries in Kenya. In terms of the carbon credit, they offset their extra carbon to our country. Now you'll realize that we may not feel the pain, because after all, for now, setting up an industry in Kenya is an assault. The processes, the taxes, even the running costs, you find that it is much high. Now, I would like to talk about. I would like us we talk about the unseen bottlenecks behind the idea of carbon credit, as far as African countries are concerned. I would like us to reason together. If I make sense, please let me know on the comment section. I would like us to reason together. Now, as Kenya, we have come and we have given those contracts to those countries to come and pollute our environment. Yes. Now, what happens is this. But now the problem, they have not opened the books of how long will those contracts expire? Because I'm telling you, if they could allow the public to see those books, if they can disclose that data to public, the years, I'm telling you, you'll realize that they are long-term things. 10 years, 10 years, 15 years, and such. So you'll realize this. If let's for example, if for example, let's think that the allowance which we have been given is 1,000 tons, and we produce like 200 tons, and now we have traded all the remaining 800 tons. So it means that even if I have money, even if you have money, setting up an industry in Kenya will be quite impossible, because, and to be specific, setting up an industry whose by nature of it is emitting carbon, it will be impossible, because we have clocked to the levels, or rather the allowance which you have been given to emit carbon. So it means that even if you have money, even if you have the capability, industrialization in Kenya will still be a problem, because now, because we have traded the remaining because we have traded the remaining the allowance, we have traded all the carbon, we have traded the remaining the remaining allowance, or rather, let me say that. And now these are the things the politicians are, or rather the rulers are doing, because now they want short-term pleasures, because after all they are going to leave the power within 5 years, or rather 10. They are going to leave they are going to leave those positions to other people, and will be there again. So this thing is taking our industrialization very far. And also, let's think of it. We can also think of it in another direction. Assuming that they don't even trade the remaining 800. Let's work with assuming that they don't trade all the allowance. But let me ask you one thing: a company is in existence for 10 years, and now I'm a startup putting up the same industry. How are we going to compete? Can you think of that? A company has been in existence for 10 years, or rather 5 years, and it is an foreign company. It's an international institution. It's a foreign institution. They have come and set up their project in Kenya, and now I'm here, and I want to do business. I want to venture into the same niche, or if for example it's in cement manufacturing. I'm there, and I want to set up a cement manufacturing company. And now I'm competing with a company which has been in existence for 10 years. Surely I will be wiped out of market clean. Let's be sincere. I will be wiped out of the market. And these are the things which are, I can say that our leaders are myopic. Because these are the things, the mistakes we are making. They are going to cost us. And also, we need to open our eyes, and think of it see it in a long term view, not just in the short term view. Yes, we are enjoying, but what about our future? Because it means that by default we will never industrialize if that's the way we are doing, we are operating. Now it may be that we are not no one has the capability maybe to set up an industry in Kenya. But what if some 10 years someone will come up? How will he going to thrive in that market when he is competing with other companies which have been in existence for a decade, for close to decade? That's quite impossible. And also you will realize that the idea of carbon credit, it has delayed also the transition from fossil fuels to green energy. Because surely, if those companies they have they have reached the boiling point of the carbon they should emit to the atmosphere in their own country, Why don't they venture into carbon? Why don't they venture into green energy? Why don't they venture into renewable sources of energy? But because they can find somewhere, some place somewhere, where they can pollute and pay, they will continue doing that. And that's why you are seeing that Africans, we are affected with other factors which we are with the other calamities which don't make sense. Like you are seeing the floods, the floods, the melting of the ice caps, the droughts, the famines, and that is not our mistakes. Only that we have allowed those countries to come and put up those projects to us and polluting our environment. If we couldn't have the idea of carbon credit, they could have thought of an alternative source. They could have thought of an alternative way of of uh, prod, continuing with the production, of making sure that the production is 100% efficient, but they are emitting less less of carbon less of carbon less of carbon to the atmosphere, or they transition to green energy. But since the poor African countries are there and they are allowing the carbon credits, we will never transition to green energy. And this is so. Those are the things they should be taken care of, because we realize that so long as they can be this, so long as they can trade, so long as there is some place somewhere where they can buy permission to pollute, they will never think about of transiting to green energy, transiting from fossil fuels which are harmful to the environment to green energy. They will never think of it. They will never think of that. And for the African countries, we will never industrialize if that is the behavior we are doing. Because if we are just trading, let me tell you a thing, and let me say this, as far as business or rather they are concerned, or rather business or rather investment, you need to know this: in every deal there is always a fool, and if you don't see any, you are the one. So African countries, we have been fooled, we have been duped by those countries. And also the leaders we elect, we need to have leaders who are focusing on the long term, who are seeing things in the long term, not in the short term pleasures, and they leave the country in a just economic cataclysm. We don't need to allow that. We don't need to allow that. So we need to change our behaviors. We need to up our game. We need also to look the things on both sides. We wage the benefits, we wage the advantages and the disadvantages, and then we make a choice, not based on the speculations, not based on the short term, but looking at the long term. In 20 years, in 10 years, in 30 years, what will happen? And also in that regard, an episode is coming, probably tomorrow, on why Africa will never industrialize. In fact, I'll be quoting, or rather I'll be referring much from the John Perkins, The Confessions of Economic Hitman. He sheds light. In fact, I can recommend that book, The Confessions of Economic Hitman, by John Perkins. It is a very wonderful book. It is a very wonderful book. It is worth reading. The time you invest in that book, you can get it on Amazon. Yes, and for that, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining me up to this time. If you haven't subscribed, make sure that you hit the magical button written subscribe and you like this video. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below on the comment section. Yes, and also you make sure that you turn on the notifications bell, because I upload a video each and every day. Now, it's a goodbye and see you tomorrow, and see you on the next one.